because I got something to say that you got heard online. No, I'm not lying. Okay. Hear me out for a couple minutes, and while I'm babbling on, you can think about questions to ask, and we'll do Q&A and talk about whatever you want. As some of you know, I actually appreciate the harder questions, the stuff you bitch about online but never say when we're at a panel. You can go ahead and do that here, so we can have a real conversation. This is kind of a weird thing to talk about publicly, but I'm going to do it anyhow. About a year ago, me and my colleague started working on, we just were bullshitting, and we started working on an idea for a big event, Batman Daredevil crossover, that would embrace a real street level, kind of big gothic event that would span both companies. At the time, Joe told me to probably just put it in the back burner because the climate between the companies it just didn't look like it was going to go very far at the time, and it was kind of perplexing to me because JLA Avengers were making a boatload of dough, and I thought, sure, certainly they would be up for another one, but at the time it just wasn't the case. At San Diego this year, me and Ed Brubaker started having the exact same conversation. We started talking about all the cool things we could do with the Batman Daredevil big street noir event. And it would involve Batman versus Bullseye, and Elektra versus Catwoman, and all these awesome, it's cool shit. And we talked to a couple of our artist friends, some of the biggest names that either me or Ed work with, and everyone's like, I'll do it for free, I'll steal it for free. And we were like, you know what, let's just get this shit done, let's just get this thing greenlit, you know what I mean? So we went to Marvel said yes, we didn't have to finish the sentence. And we went to DC, and the DC said yes. Then it went up to Paul Levitz, and Paul Levitz said no.
Actually, that's not entirely correct, Brian.
Who is this?
This is Bob Wayne, DC Comics.
Come on, Bob. Come on up. Come on up, Bob Wayne. Appreciate you coming up. That's okay. Can I finish and you can do?
Sure.
Okay.
As long as we just go with the premises, I think that you're incorrect.
Okay, fine. That's absolutely fine. But I did call Paul, Paul, I wasn't there when Paul said no, but I did call Paul myself earlier this week, as you probably know. And I asked him personally to reconsider. The reason he gave me for the no was a personal reason, that his relationship with Joe Quesada wasn't one that he liked. And I said to him that I thought that it shouldn't matter, that's not a good reason. A legal reason I can see, a corporate reason I can see, we deal with that shit every day, right? But this seemed to be just a personal reason. And another, it seemed to me that we could create a situation where those two don't even have to speak to each other. And my reason that I went public with this is because, and I told Paul this, that it seems that retailers will do very well with a book like this. And if that's the case, it's really not our position to ever deny them that. And it seems that we have a room full of people who would really like to see a book like this. And if that's the case, there is nothing standing in our way from delivering, because the mistake sometimes is made on one level is that the characters are really everybody's, and we should kind of, at some level, give them what they want, or, you know what I mean, or be there for them to deliver these kind of stories. I would love to hear your point of view of this.
Well, I think the impression I have is we expressed our interest in doing Batman and Daredevil together, or characters within those families together. We expressed our interest in Brian being involved and how we'd like to work with him on something, and we said that we would be likely to do it as soon as Joe Quesada is not at Marvel Comics. It's a very simple request.
And I heard that.
Well, I used to be two people. We're only down to one, so we're moving in the right direction.
But my opinion is, it shouldn't even factor in to editorial decisions. And listen, there's plenty of people in this business that really get under my skin. But when it comes down to it, you have to think what's good for the industry and what's good for business. And in this instance, it's one of those great moments where, like me and Ed, who have good track records, have something we want to deliver that could sell well for retailers. And I really think you owe it to the retailers to not stand in the way of a product that will help them get customers. or help them make money.
And if there's anything you can do to speed Joe out the door, we'll be happy to get himself on the schedule.
No. And
but it's not apt to say that we're not interested in doing it. We're not interested in doing it under the circumstances that currently exist.
But I can create a situation for you that you won't have to talk to Joe. Dan will talk to you. You don't have to talk to Joe. So say yes right now. Here's the thing, and I know some people are going to read about this online, and Bob will back me up on this. This is not some hypey shtick to announce a book. This book does not exist, correct?
Oh, no, this book is definitely not going to happen now. That's
Bob, you should be bigger than that. You should let these
No, I'm just telling people the truth. I don't want to lie to them.
But this is not some hypey wrestling kind
No. This is not like a Captain Marvel versus Marvel versus ultimate Woody type of thing.
I did everything in my power behind the scenes to try to get this going, and I did talk to Paul directly.
Yeah.
And this is what he said to me, and I literally was like, what else could I possibly do but try to get the retailers and the readers to kind of get you guys to change your mind. And I really hope. I know we're not guys to talk publicly, and I know sometimes it's hard to do this kind of stuff. I take some time and think about it, and you guys write them emails and call them, and let's get this going, because I really think it could be special, and it's.
Did Micah Wright work this campaign up for you?
I don't know Micah Wright. You work with Micah Wright.
Just checking.
Bob, I sincerely appreciate you coming here and talking about this publicly. I really, really do, because we don't know each other at all.
No, I don't know if we've ever.
I don't think we've ever
met. So
I sincerely appreciate you. You're meant for doing it. You're meant for being honest. Kick-ass book, and you should say yes.
There's a lot of projects. There's a lot of projects that would be good that could happen between us. There's a lot of projects that have been discussed between DC and Marvel in the last few years have been blocked for various reasons.
I know.
And
we know about it. We know about all of them. And we hear them all the time. We get to hear them in the bar. And you get to all the stuff that never happens. And we got up to this one and went, this isn't a good enough reason. There's so many ones that are good reasons. And a lot of them are legal. You know what I mean? This just can't happen. There's no good reason here. You guys are mad at Joe kicks your ass, and you get mad at him. You take it that way. That's not how it's taken. It's not fair. It's not fair to
It's also not accurate. That is not the core problem between us and Joe.
What is it?
The core problem is the type of behavior that Joe exhibited in interviews like the one that ran the New York Observer, where he was completely over the line for what was appropriate behavior.
You want to tell him what he said?
No, I prefer not to. But if you need me to email you a copy of
I know what it said.
stuff.
I know what it said. Paul told me.
Right.
You don't want me to say it, don't say it.
Well, I mean, it's, I'm sure you'll get a good response with the material.
I know, that's
but
why
the
I'll
thing is, it's not the type of discourse that's going to happen between publishers when they're going to be willing to work together to publish stuff. And as long as someone is in that position who has not in any way recanted the kind of behavior that he showed during that time period, we don't have any interest in working with him.
That's a shame, man.
So you're going to let a book be held up over something that's semantic reason when there's a whole bunch of Daredevil fans sitting here who want to see it?
Unfortunately, yes, I think I made that clear.
Both ends for both companies, and people are going to buy it.
It's better than Dark Knight 2.
I don't want to do DC bashing. I like DC Comics a lot, and I want to write Batman very badly. I'm sincere, I don't want to turn it into this, and I have a lot of respect for Bob.
The only reason I raised my hand was it was not a matter that we're saying that we don't want to do this. We would like to do this. There are lots of crossover between DC characters and Marvel characters we would like to see, but the conditions do not exist where we feel comfortable and willing to go into the relationship.
That's your choice.
That is definitely our choice based on our reaction to the catalyst.
Call Dr. Phil.
I will laugh at that, but that would make me admit that I watched it once. And
I'll step aside.
Wait. First of all, Bob, I sincerely appreciate you, and if we want to talk about this privately, I certainly didn't want to create a situation, but let's do so. I do think you guys can push this. I sincerely believe that.
I'll think about it.
Gotta think they're ever going to hire me. I'll be writing Batman when I'm 80. Anyway, but let me do say that I do think that a grassroots, and the reason I went forward with this publicly, and I know a lot of you who follow stuff online know that I've bent over backwards not to be public with certain things that have gone on in my career, even when they're painfully obvious what happened. That I did this because I actually think you guys can push this in the right direction, and that Bob and Paul do have other people they have to answer to, and the retailers and you guys are the real power in the industry, and you guys choose a lot more things than you guess. So if you want to see this kind of thing happen, please do something about it, because I've done everything I can do. All right? Listen, before we bail out of here, I did, the DC thing went weird, and I appreciate you guys supporting, because I was kind of taking a chance, because you guys go like, actually, I don't want to see that book at all. Boo-hoo, you don't get a book. If you do pursue writing an email to DC or telling your retailer to talk to DC, because DC has reps that call their store every week and bring it up to them, do so in a polite way. No, I'm not joking, because being hostile it won't happen, and I really want it to happen, and I actually have a lot of respect for them and what they do, and I want to get this done. So if you do this, do it in a polite, speak like you would like to be spoken to, but make it clear what you want, and that you're the customer, and the customer's always right. And I promise you we will kick ass on this book. And I think I really dragged Ed Brubaker under the bus with me too. I think that's a bad news too. I think I gotta go ahead now. And I do really appreciate you. But if you talk to DC this weekend, you can do it here too. Be polite and be nice to them, because that's what I'm hoping you guys do. All right?
Who do we write?
What?
Who do we write?
Levitz, baby. Levitz, he's the guy. That's the buck stopped at Levitz. The editorial said yes. Bob Schreck said yes. Matt Ineson said yes. Paul Levitz said no. And Bob Wayne, yeah. I'm gonna think about how to do it best. Like, what's the best way to get heard? But I mean, they're here at the convention. I mean, we can get this done. I think we can get this done. I think it'd be great to set as a precedent for the future for how they decide on stuff. Because even when he listed, there was a bunch of other stuff they didn't approve. I'm like, well, put it out. What's stopping this? Real quick.
Without any knowledge of what happened, what Joe did, what Joe said, if Joe made an apology, do you think that would make a difference?
At this point, no. I believe there was some sort of apology, and I just don't think that they're having it. So, but they're not my relationships, and I've actually felt bad bringing that part of it to the public, because it really isn't my place to say. But it really isn't, because it's the only reason standing in our way. So I don't know how else to express to you what's going on without saying it. So there you go, guys. I can't thank you enough for coming out here.